Hi, hello, good afternoon. So my name is Shem Gitonga. I'm the founder of Floss Inc. That's a company that basically deal with different tasks, automation and process automation and CRM. So welcome everyone. So we're going to kick off in just a couple of minutes. So while you wait, do me a favor, drop a hello in the chat and tell me where you're joining from and how big your team is currently is. I do always love seeing where people are building from. Also, quick note before you start, everything we cover today applies whether you have one international hire or 50. The principles actually don't change, only the scale does. So wherever you are in in that journey, you're in the right place. All right, let's give it one more minute and then we'll go. Just a minute. Let me um share this tab instead. Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Shem Gitonga, as I said earlier on, founder of Flossink, a company that is uh, does process automation and other services. So um, today we are going to talk about something that every founder building a serious company eventually hits. The moment you want to hire someone great and that person is in a different country, it actually sounds simple. It is, it is not that simple. And the gap between how founders think it works and how it actually works is where some very expensive mistakes happen. So today I'm going to cut through that. So we're basically covering the biggest mistakes and how payroll across border actually works and how to keep the distributed teams together once you've built them. And I want you to hear from you in the queue and a question. So I'm doing this in partnership with Deel. If you're not familiar, Deel is a platform that powers global hiring, payroll, and compliance in over 150 countries. They're not just a sponsor. They're generally the tool that I'd point out any founder to when they're ready to hire internationally. More on that shortly. Quick housekeeping. Drop your questions as in the chat as they come up. I'll hold them for the end. And yes, this meeting is being recorded. You get that replay link. Thank you. So let me start with why, with the why now. So basically, 5 years ago, hiring remotely felt experimental. Something the big tech companies were doing. Today, it's stable. It's table stakes. If you are limiting your hiring to one city, you're competing for talent with every company in that city, and losing people to whoever has the biggest office budget. Okay. The numbers tell the story. Access to a global talent pool means your candidate pool is effectively 3.5 times larger than single city hiring. And the average salary cost for equivalent roles is about 40% lower when you open globally. And I want to be clear, that's not about underpaying people. It's about accessing talent markets where budget goes further while still paying competitively locally. And 63% remote workers consistently report higher productivity than in office. The shift has already happened. The question isn't whether to build a global remote team. The question is whether you're going to do it in a way that creates value or in a way that creates liability. Okay? Because here's the truth done wrong. Global hiring can cost you more than it saves. Okay? Compliance fines, payroll errors, retention problems from a team that never feels cohesive. These are real and they're expensive. I've seen it happen to founders I respect. Done right, it's one of the biggest unfair advantages you can build into your company. And that's what the next 20 minutes is going to be all about. Let's talk about the three mistakes I see over and over. Each one is avoidable. Most founders learn them the hard way. Mistake number one, hiring contractors when they're legally employees. This is the most common and most expensive mistake in international hiring. It's called misclassification. And here is how it happens. A founder finds a great developer in Kenya or a salesperson in Colombia. They don't want to deal with setting up a local entity or going through a payroll platform. So they say, let us just do a contract agreement, simple invoice, wire transfer, done. Except here is what the law says. If that person works exclusively for you, follows your process, uses your tools, works your hours, most countries will consider them as an employee regardless of what your contract says. And when that gets flagged, these things do get flagged. The penalties are brutal. Back taxes, fines, retroactive benefits, sometimes legal exposure for the worker too. I know a founder who got hit with an 80,000 back tax bill in a single market. The contractor arrangement had been running 2 years. That's not a cautionary tale. That's Tuesday for a compliance attorney. The fix is simple. Classify honestly before you make them hire. If they're real an employee, treat them like one from day one. Mistake number two, paying everyone in USD and assuming that's enough. I hear this constantly. We pay in USD and you're fine. No, you're not fine. Local employment laws governs the employment relationship regardless of what currency you pay in. The minimum wage requirements, mandatory benefits, statutory leave, pension contributions, social insurance, all of these are determined by the country where your employee is based. Paying in USD doesn't exempt you from any of it. This is especially acute in Africa. In Latin America and in the European Union, where employment law is detailed and enforcement is real, we pay in USD is not a compliance strategy. It's a liability waiting to surface. Mistake number three, treating remote culture as a later problem. This one is a slower, this one is slower to show up, but it's just as costly. When you do hire globally and don't invest in how your distributed team communicates, connects, and grows, people leave. Remote team attrition is roughly twice as high when there's no intentional culture investment, and replacing a great hire is expensive. Recruiting costs, onboarding time, lost institutional knowledge. The founders who get this right treat culture as an infrastructure, not a park, not a team retreat once a year infrastructure. We'll come back to what that actually looks like in practice. So moving on to the slide, just a moment. Okay, so let's talk about what actually works for paying people across borders, because you have options and they're not equal. Option number one, manual bank transfer. Simple, works for 1 or 2 people, but the problem compounds fast. FX fees, it's 3 to 6% of every transfer. There's no compliance layer. You're on your own for tax treatment and reporting, and it doesn't scale. When you have five people in 4 countries, you're running a part-time job, just managing the transfers. Option two, contractor invoice, low admin overhead. And if someone generally is a contractor, meaning they have multiple clients, they set their own hours, they use their own tool, that this works fine. The problem is that most founders use contractor invoices for people who are functional employees, which brings us right to mistake number one. Option three, this is the one that actually works at scale, and this is where Deal comes in. What a platform like Deal gives you is compliant employment or contract arrangements in 150 plus countries, multi-currency payroll. Everyone gets paid in the local currency. FX is handled automatically. One dashboard for your entire global team, whether they're employees, your workers, or contractors, and a compliance engine that updates continuously as local laws change. So you're not staying up at night trying to track employment law changes in six jurisdiction. The cost is a monthly fees per person. And I'll tell you, when you do the real math against the alternatives, the FX losses, the compliance exposures, the admin time, the platform pays for itself first. The referral for Deal is in the chat right now, so it will be in the follow-up email. I genuinely encourage you to explore it. So moving on to the other part is retaining distributed talent. Okay, retention. All right, you've heard it completely. You've got payroll sorted. Now the real challenge: keeping great people when they're distributed across the world. Hiring globally is the easy part. Keeping people is the real work, and there are four things I've seen make the biggest difference. First, async fast culture. Default to written communication. Document decision, not just what you decide, but why. Never require real-time attendance for things that can wait. This sounds obvious, but most teams don't actually do it. They say we are async and then schedule a 9 a.m. meeting for everyone, regardless of the time zone. Async is a commitment, not a label. Secondly, fair, transparent pay. Publish your salary bands. The compensation is the compensation to role and impact, not location. The moment your remote team suspects that someone in a different country is being paid less for identical work, trust breaks. And in remote teams, trust is everything because it's harder to rebuild. Third, intentional belonging. Remote employees don't bump into each other in the kitchen. So you have to build the moments that create connection on purpose. Quarterly virtual team sessions, non-work channels, public celebrations of wins. These aren't nice to have. They are the tissue that holds the distributed teams together. Four, the fourth one is visible growth. Remote employees who can see their own career path live faster than in-person employees because there's no ambient signal of progress. Regular one-on-ones, public recognition, clear milestones make success visible, especially in the first 90 days. Okay, just a moment. Just a moment, guys. I think my business is behaving. I'm going to move to Saturday date. Okay. And quickly, let me give you the first step hiring playbook to tie all this together. So one, define the role precisely. Remote roles fail when expectations are vague. Write a role document, not just a job description. Two, classify before you post, employee or contractor. Decide upfront. Deal has a free classifier if you're unsure. Three, run async native interviews. Loom videos, written take homes, async assignments. You're testing for how they work, not just what they know. Four, onboard in writing. Every process, every tool, every expectation documented before day one. Remote onboarding is 80% documentation. Five, set a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan. Remote hires need early wins to feel connected. Make success feel visible and specific in those 3 months. Let me bring it home. The three things I want you to work out of here with is one, classify before you hire. Misclassification is the most expensive mistake in global hiring. Do it right from the start. Use a proper global payroll platform. The free options aren't free when you add up FX loss, compliance risk, and admin time. Get the infrastructure right. Three, build remote culture and purpose. Retention is an infrastructure problem, not a vibe problem. The teams that stay together, the ones where someone built the connective issue intentionally. That's the playbook, and all of it is when you have the right tools. Deal handles the compliance part, the payroll, the contracts. Okay, so you can focus on the part that actually builds your company, finding great people and helping them do great work. The link is in your follow-up email and in the chat. I encourage you to check it out. Now, I want to hear from you. I have your questions here in the chat and spend the rest of our time on the things that actually are relevant to the situation. Let's go. Hey. So Moses asked, how do I know if someone should be a contractor or employee? The clearest test, do they work exclusively for you? Do they follow your schedule and your process? Do they use the tools you provide? If the answer to those is yes, they're functionally an employee in most jurisdiction, regardless of what the contractor says. Deal has a free classification tool that walks you through the country-specific rules. Start there. So Kennedy asked which countries are the hardest to hire without a local entity. Okay. Brazil and China are the most frequently cited. Brazil has complex labor laws and EUR restrictions. China has limits on who can act as an EUR provider. Germany and France have strong employee protections but are workable via EUR. The answer is always country specific, okay? And this is exactly where Deal's country guides saves you enormous research time. Chambi asked, is it legal to pay people less because they're in a lower cost country to country? Legally, yes, as long as you meet local minimum wage and benefit requirements. Strategically, I think about it differently. Pay people competitively for the market, tied to the role and the impact. Teams where people suspect pay inequality based on location must have trust problems. Transparent salary bans this. The other question is from William: is what's the minimum setup for hiring my first international employee? Honestly, an AR platform like Deel, you don't need a local entity. You don't need a local accountant. You don't need a local bank account. You need a compliant employment arrangement in that country, which is exactly why AR provides. You can be up and running with a new hire in a new country in days. The last question is, how do we handle time zones without burning people out? Yeah, okay, this is common. Set co-overlap hours, typically a 2 3 hour window where everyone is available, and protect the rest as async. Okay, be explicit. Be explicit about this upfront. The mistake is leaving it ambiguous and then defaulting to whoever says first. Asynchronous fast isn't about never meeting. It's about being intentional about when you do. If there are no questions, I think thank you for your time. Thank you all for so much for being here today. Really sharp questions. I appreciate the engagement. The replay will go out within the 24 hours with a summary of the key points. If you want to explore Deal, the link is in a follow-up email. It's my referral link, and I generally recommend the platform. And if you want to continue the conversation, my Google Meeting link is there attached. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Go build something great. Thank you.